think about this. At the beginning of the interviews, your goal is to make a strong first impression. As I talked about in many of my classes, you don't get a second chance for first impression. Because when first impression is set, you don't have a second chance to change that. Or it will take a lot of effort and time to change that first impression. So you want to give a strong first impression, okay? How do you do that? You have to greet them. How are you doing today? And the name, if you do know the name. And if you don't know, you can ask the front desk when you walk into the company and say, hi, I'm here for the interview. Could I know the name of the interviewer? Who should I talk to? But usually in the email that you receive for the interview invitation, you should know who's going to talk to you. So you should use their first name, okay, usually, okay? If they have an English first name, use the first name, okay? But in Asia, in Taiwan, we like to use the last name, okay? That could be the case if the person interviewing you is Taiwanese. Then you might use the, Miss Lee, okay, or Mr. Chen, something like that. But if you know the first name in English and you know the culture of the company is very westernized, then you greet them by the first name, okay? So ask them, how are you doing, okay, something with the name. And or you can say, I'm pleased to meet you. And the name, choose one, okay? Don't use both, that's too much. And next one, if you want to say, how are you doing? I'm really pleased to meet you, that's fine, okay? But don't mention their name twice. It's just strange. And next one, you thank them for meeting you. So, it's a very, I think it's important to show your gratitude. It's important to tell them that you are very grateful for the opportunity. So you start by telling them that you really appreciate this opportunity. So you say, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today, or thank you for having me today. Simply just a very short sentence, okay? And some people might use, I appreciate your time. I think I appreciate is good, but I like thank you better because you put you in the sentence. That means you put other people in the sentence. But I appreciate my feeling, okay? So you're still focusing on yourself. So even though you feel thankful, I prefer to use thank you, okay? And mention who you know. You might not want to, you might not have this part, okay? I don't mean that you might not want to, but I just think that, it's important. If you know someone in the company who introduced this job opening to you, you should mention that because it shows the company that you know someone inside and they can check on the person to find out more about you. So if you don't have this part, you don't need to say this. But let's say if you do know someone in the company, you should, okay, for your benefit, you should mention that. So I'm so excited when someone in what position or department told me about this position was open, okay? When someone told me about this, I was so excited. So if you want to know about me, you can talk to that person, okay? This is the purpose of this sentence, okay? So if you don't have that, don't worry about it. Express your gratitude, okay? Again, so if you really want to thank, then you already thanked them in the beginning. If you want to emphasize, then I really appreciate being considered for this role, okay? So you kind of give them another compliment, another gratitude. You just really, you thank God, thank everyone that you have the opportunity to be here, but most importantly, you thank the person who got you in for the interview. So I really appreciate being considered for this role, okay? There's never too much politeness, okay? So people appreciate that. People like someone who is polite. Next one, convey that you research the role and the company. So you have to tell them, Okay, I've done a lot of research. I know your company. I put in the effort. And this is something that we should do. Okay, you should already know about the company when you start writing your cover letter and resume. Okay, so it's not something that you prepare for the interview. You should already have this part taken care of. Okay, you know the company because you did your resume and cover letter based on the research of the company, of the industry. Okay, so you say, I've done a lot of research already, and I'm excited to learn more about your company from you. Okay, so when you said this, from you, okay, they will know what you're talking about. Why? What's the question that I planned? Because there's a purpose. It's important for you to say this. There's a purpose. I don't want this interview to be just you asking me. It's not a Q&A, okay? I want to learn about your company from you. So I'm here to answer your question, but you are also here to answer my question as well. It's a two-way street. You know what I'm talking about? Most people sitting in the interview room, feeling nervous, feeling small, feeling weak because you have no control. It's because the way we frame the situation in our mind is that we think we have no control because they can decide. But, you have to change your mindset. You can decide as well. The company can decide as well. So it's not just the company deciding whether or not they should hire you. It's also you learning about the company and deciding whether or not you want to work for them. So once you have that mindset, you will calm yourself down and act like a professional. So I know a lot about your company, and I'm excited to learn more about the company from you. So you want to learn more about me. I want to learn more about the company from you. Next one. Point out you are a great fit. Of course, you always want to talk about, you are a great fit. It's a cliche. But in interview, you just mentioned it very quickly. I talked about this in cover letter, that you shouldn't spend too much space talking about how you're a good fit because you only have one page, right? So we can talk about good fit on cover letter by talking about the qualification. But in an interview, you want to touch on that. This takes 2 seconds to say. So I've reviewed the job description and it aligns well with my experiences and qualification. I'm looking forward to sharing more about my skills with you. So very quickly, just mention that. I have the skill, I have the qualification, and I'm here to share about it. Okay, so that's something that we need to talk about. And you would have a sample opening like this. This would take less than 30 seconds to finish. It might look long. I just want you to remember the structure, not the sentence. It's difficult to remember the sentence and say it naturally. Say it like you mean it. That's why we practice. You need to have this kind of answer drill into your brain that you would never forget. So next time when you sit in the interview, this just comes out naturally. Okay? It's all about your natural speech flow. So you can project the feelings. Okay, you see what I mean? All right, so you don't recite it. You don't say something like, I'm pleased to meet you, John, when Samantha told me that there's no feeling, okay? So you want to say it like you mean it. I'm pleased to meet you, John. When Samantha, your PR director, told me this position was open, I'm really excited, okay? So I'm really excited. So you use that tone to project the feeling. I was so excited, okay? So how do you practice that? You need to talk to someone. You need to open your mouth. You need to say the words out. If you just look at the piece of paper and you read it quietly, or even worse, you read it inside your mind, it just wouldn't work, You need to say it. But if you're too shy in the beginning, I suggest that you take out your phone and record yourself like you're talking to someone. Okay, if you don't want to try with a real person first, you talk to someone, and you talk to your phone. You record it. Okay, when you record it and you review it and look at the speech flow, how natural it is. Okay, so that's how we perfect it. We need to practice our voice. Voice is our tool. It's the biggest part about communication, okay? Besides body language, our tone is the most important tool. If you don't work on your tone, your communication skills will not improve. So, thank you for considering me for this role. I've done a lot of research and reviewed the job description, and your company values and needs align well with my experience and qualifications. I'm excited to go over my details with you. Okay, so one message, simple, open the interview for you. When do you say this? Is it when the interviewer gives you the cue, the first question? So tell me about yourself. Nope. You say it even before they start asking you questions. Remember what I said earlier in the interview? What's the first thing you do? First impression, right? And what's another thing that I said? Take control of the situation. Before they start asking you, you should take control of the situation. So, shake hands. How are you doing, John? I'm really pleased to meet you. When Samantha told me this opening, I was really excited. Thank you for considering me for this role. I've done a lot of research, and I know that the company's values and needs align with my qualification and experience. And I'm really glad that I have the chance to talk to you about this. Okay, so I don't have the answer memorized, but at least the structure of the answer relies in the same frame. Okay? But you have to say it naturally. You need a strong impression. And there's nothing stronger than taking control of the situation. Okay? I don't want you to do it like aggressively, but I want you to do it like sincerely, that you really appreciate the opportunity. You are really excited to be there. Okay? And your voice will project this excitement. So opening, very, very important.